Hello. I'd like to discuss normalizing breaking the law. The history of our country, breaking the law used to be a big deal. Used to get you ostracized from your society, your town. Um, when you went to the local store, you went to the diner, everybody would point at you and because you were in the paper or people heard that you broke the law, or you did something wrong, or you constantly broke the law. It was always a focal point of people's attention. And not until Prohibition did Prohibition change how we focus and look on breaking the law. With Hoffa and um, and the mob running alcohol, uh, breaking the law became cool. It became like a folk hero. Uh, you know, Before, like Billy the Kid and Butch and the Sundance, they were seen as degenerates, the bad people. But after Prohibition, criminals were seen as good people. The mob was seen as good people. Um, and breaking the law was punished by the government, but rewarded by society. And it continues today. Trump is rewarded for breaking the law. And what they're doing with him, eh, and it's not him, it's his administration, they're trying to normalize breaking the law. With what ICE does, they normalize breaking people's constitutional rights. And what are they going to say down the road? They're going to say, oh, they always do it. They don't care. They do what they want. And they're trying to normalize that, which really what that does is negates your rights. So you don't have that right anymore. You have the right if they want to give it to you. It's not like they have to give it to you. If they want to give it to you, yeah. If you're not a big fish and they don't feel like going after you, or if they don't have a benefit for going after you, then they'll leave you alone and you'll walk away thinking it's because I have the right and you don't. You just think you do. And it's like the right of free speech. Yeah, you have the right of free speech, and here's a whole list of things you can't say. So we don't have free speech. Maybe we have more than say Germany, but we don't have free speech. We don't have absolute free speech, and depending on the state you're in, you don't have a right to bear arms. They make it very difficult for you to get a gun, and it's just like I said, guns don't kill people. People kill people. In England, you're very hard to get a gun. And what do they have a lot of? They have a lot of nice knifings. A lot of people use knives and they kill people with knives and they go out and they kill three or four people with a knife and it makes the news. But what are you going to do? Make knives illegal? I mean, and I think with the gun, it just seems like it's easy to go out and squeeze off a few shots and take out a few people. And I think the ease of it is why they want to make them illegal. But yeah, that's just a line of crap. I'm not for gun control. I believe the more people that have guns, the safer we are from our government, not from the black guy in the corner, but from our government. The government has to know that we're armed, and if they mess with us, we're going to take them out. And if they don't feel that, if they feel like they're controlling us, like England is not afraid of its citizens, and the United States is more afraid of its citizens. But Trump has turned those radical citizens into his own, like the Proud Boys and stuff. He thinks that they're his like personal militia, and maybe true or not, but um, they're idiots anyway, so it doesn't matter. You know, I mean, we're not talking about the rocket scientists of the world. And, the leader of the Proud Boys, that was something else. The guy was gay, and he was protesting against anti-gay stuff, and it's just beyond the pale of what's normal. And of course, are you surprised? The Proud Boys are not normal. So it's just they're trying to normalize um, breaking the law and doing what you want. And what are they going to say down the road when Trump is no longer president? They're going to say, "Oh, Trump did it, so I can do it." That's been the first word out of their mouth. Trump did it, so I could do it. And why could Trump do it and I can't? I mean, that'll be the argument. And they're trying to normalize breaking the Constitution, breaking all the rules, uh, and pushing barriers. And he's pushing barriers, but in the wrong way, because it's all with a selfish scam type of vein. He's making money off everything he does, and if he's not making money, he doesn't do it. The pardons, he's selling pardons for billions of dollars, and to him that's okay because he's making $1 billion for a pardon, which means he has to sign a piece of paper and make $1 billion. And to him it's like ka-ching, and that's not right. It's not right by any means. And the ones that he's pardoning are all the scam artists that got busted and got found guilty of committing huge frauds and scams on society, which was him and his Trump University, which is a huge scam. And all the other companies he had was a huge scam. Uh, he's never had a legitimate company. Even his casinos, they were all scams. And that's why they no longer exist. And if they weren't scams in nature, he ran them like a scam. So that's why they don't longer exist. And he's running the government like a scam. And he's devaluing the presidency. We might not have a president one day because of him. And it's just, and I think the importance of the presidency will never be as high as it is today. It'll be very hard for anyone to follow in his footsteps, but they're going to try, and they're going to say, "Well, if he did it, I could do it." But um, it might take a while. It's not going to be the next president or anything like that. Biden was not even close to Trump, and you know, it's a unique relationship. And the slush fund that he made to pay off the people that did with his bidding for him, it's all a bunch of crap, and he'll probably get away with it. It's funny, you work your ass off to pay your taxes, and they're going to give it to some guy who beat up a Capitol Police and say thank you. Um, I think that's an ultimate disrespect to your hard work and your allegiance to this country, and to give it to somebody who totally disrespects the country and gets paid for it, rewarded for it, however you want to look at it. And I think it's ridiculous. And look, the problem, I always say, live a good life. You know, don't worry about these political things. Um, he needs to keep the political temperature high, and now he's got it so high with the Iran war and everything. It's if he gets boring, he'll be outed. They won't want him anymore if he gets boring, because the only reason they keep him, and the only reason he got elected is because he was on The Apprentice, and The Apprentice wasn't a boring show, at least in the beginning. I didn't watch it in the end because I got bored with it. And the same thing will happen to his presidency. In the beginning, it was an exciting presidency because he did all these crazy things. But in the end, he's going to run out of crazy things to do, or it's going to be more of the same, and people are going to see it as that. And they're going to be like, I've seen that story before, been there, done that. And they're going to walk away. And, are you going to go with them? Are you going to walk away too?